Right, okay. Time to get a fire going. It's getting cold. Let's see if this is enough to get things going, shall we? I believe today is one of those. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Hamlet cigar adverts, but what's his name that played Ramsay Nesbitt? Is it Gregor Fisher? Whatever his name was. And he'd try and do a bunch of things. They'd end up failing, sometimes in spectacular fashion, and eventually bass air on the G string would play, and he'd stop what he's doing, and he'd smoke a Hamlet cigar, and just suddenly all the cares of the world just went away up in a puff of smoke. And I thought it was quite symbolic, you know. And well, I don't know if you ever smoke cigars, but they're bitter things. I don't like them myself. I've smoked them before, but usually say yes when I'm offered one. Anyway, today has been a bit like one of those sort of things. I've been doing a bunch of chores and cleaning around the house, and whilst I was doing that, I was boiling some spuds. I fancied some mashed potato, and I came back to it, and I was like, "Oh, how do I know when potatoes are overboiled?" Well, when they've started to disintegrate, and when you pour it out, half of the potato pours out in the strained water. That's probably when you've overboiled it. And then I looked at it and I thought, okay, I've ended up with potato soup. Maybe this can still be salvaged. I mean, after all, what's instant mashed potato if not just disintegrated potato flakes, right? And I put some butter in it. I gave it a stir with a potato masher because, frankly, there was no need for a potato masher. You could have done it with a ladle. And I had a taste, and I was just like, "This is horrible." If I was making mashed potato for service in a hospital, they'd be like, "This is good enough. This is nutritionally balanced. This is what we will serve to the patients that are convalescing, so that they can have a speedy recovery." Do you know why NHS hospital food is the best hospital food in the world? It's not because of the quality. So, you know, don't sort of write in and say, "Oh, but Hobbit, surely you'd be defending the French or Belgian." No, the reason the NHS hospital food is the best hospital food in the world is because you have one bite of it and you'll be like, "Right, doctor, can I leave now?" But you're still bleeding and your wounds are. Yeah, I really fancy going like to McDonald's or even just getting a Rustler's burger or something because anything's better than this. I mean, where else are you going to get like potato and onion in a watery gravy or I don't. The less I can say about NHS hospital food, the better. Anyway, the mashed potatoes I made would have been fit to serve to NHS patients. That's how bad they are. Now, I've said that. I've got a frozen gammon, which I've put into a pot of warm water, and I'm going to be coming back to that later on. At the very least, I can have a ham sandwich today, so I shan't starve. And I've had myself a satsuma or clementine. No, they don't even call them satsumas or clementines anymore. They call them easy peelers. I hate that bloody name, easy peelers. Is this one of those bits of marketing guff where they're like, "Oh, people won't buy them if you call them what they are. So if we say that they're easy to peel, then people will buy them." Oh yes, just like Perry wasn't selling well, and then we sold it as pear cider, and then sales rocketed. And you know the awful thing is, sales of Perry did increase when they rebranded it as pear cider. I really hate it, but on the other hand, I am glad to see that there's Perry in the shops because I mean Perry's a nice drink. Pear, I think, like even unfermented pears are delicious. They're a good fruit. A bit limited in what you can do with them because of the texture is a bit funny, and I hate the skin on pears. But Poached pears, oh, they're delicious. Maybe I'll get some pears and some dessert wine. Yeah, that's an idea. Anyway, so I shan't starve today. I've had my fruit, and then later on I'll have a ham sandwich, and I've got some nice bread, so I'm going to be all right there. Just a bit disappointed I'm not going to have mashed potato. I was looking forward to mashed potato. I was thinking, like, all the things I was going to be able to eat with mashed potatoes. Like, going to have gammon, going to have carrots and onions, going to have gammon, carrots and onions, going to have fish fingers. All sorts of things go in mash. You can even have mash with a curry. So I think that's superior to rice, but don't tell the Indians that. No, do tell the Indians that, actually. They'd probably agree with me on that one, because potatoes are nice. But don't tell the Japanese. I've seen not so much Japanese videos, but that I have, through association with some others, been watching a lot of Singapore cooking videos, specifically dancing bacons. And I don't see the appeal myself, and a lot of that food looks unappetising. But the one thing I don't get, you go to a fancy restaurant there, the sort where you're paying hundreds of dollars for a 5-course dinner. And amongst like the bowls of rice and stuff, they'll do you like a tablespoon of mashed potato with your meal. And it's like, what's the point in that? Like, they treat mashed potato like others would treat horseradish, like it's a little condiment on the side of your plate. It's like, no, mashed potato is a staple food, and it's a delicious staple food. I mean, if someone said to me, you've got to grow rice or potatoes and it's going to be your staple, and, you know, what would you rather have a bowl of? Buttered rice or, mashed potato? Well, mashed potato. I mean, why are you even asking such a thing? Rice is so boring. You've got to, like, fry it with eggs and vegetables and to make it good. Well, that said, actually, you can do the same thing with mash. I mean, a lot of people like Bubble and Squeak. I personally, because it's greener in colour, I like Cold Cannon, where you boil up some kale and then stick it into your mash, and and then you chop some green onions, which we call spring onions. Sorry, a bit too much American influence. Put spring onions and kale with mashed potato. Oh, it's delicious. It's brilliant. Then you have it with some sausages. I'm really hungry now, and I hope that gammon's going to boil soon, because I think a slice of boiled gammon and a sandwich, that will do me, and I'll have a couple of pickled onions with it. I'm sorry, it's a fire video, but prominent amongst my thoughts is the thought of food. I'm also thinking about this. This is it's a filter. It's not a tea bag, although it looks a lot like a tea bag. It's full of charcoal, or activated carbon as they call it, and it's pretty odourless actually. But I was doing some cleaning on my distiller, and I decided, you know what, I'll keep the lid on it, and I did that whilst the citric acid was in, and I think it was just the combination products of citric acid with calcium and no, it probably wasn't the calcium. It was probably the other nasty things like iron and copper in the pipes, and it just smelled bad. So I thought, you know what, I've been using it for months now. I'll stick another tea bag in there. Why don't I just use actual tea bags in the distiller, and then I can have some weak tea every time I brew up a kettle of distilled water. There's a thought, eh? Anyway, fire. Bye.